Hi, I'm Lawrence.
I'm Nick.
Welcome to the Nick and Lawrence Show.
Hakuna Matata.
It means no worries.
Oh, the rest of your days.
Yes, sir.
You can keep singing, but
Okay.
we'll do that later.
We'll do that later.
Off camera. But if you hadn't guessed, we want to talk about The Lion King.
Yeah.
Now, Lawrence is sporting his Lion King, the Broadway musical shirt.
Right.
And I got the Lion King shirt that I got in commemoration of the movie that just came out.
Right.
The live action remake.
Right.
Live action. Not live action.
Well, I didn't. So, I guess we're gonna review the Lion King. I brought this shirt. He got his new shirt. I've got some things from the original Lion King, so we'll do a little bit of both because as he mentioned, live action with the little quotes, and still when I went yesterday to try to watch the movie, and as we were getting ready to tape this, I was trying to look for the words CGI animation, but we'll get into that in due time.
Yeah, it was not live. Actually, I think if you go, I heard this. I didn't look into it, what the actual part of the movie that this applies to, but there was one part of the movie, and I think maybe it was just one scene or one aspect that was real. Like they used one thing that was live, and I don't know if it was the dirt or if it was like maybe the sunset or the background. It was something from Africa that was live. Right. So if you know, actually, let us know in the comments. And other than that, the whole movie was computer generated, which that in itself, if you have or have not seen the movie yet, you can tell just from the trailers too that the computer generation, the computer animation was like so photorealistic that it was like a blessing and a curse for the movie. Like if you've heard anything from other critics about what they liked and didn't like about the movie, it all kind of fell on the computer animation for the most part. So
well, I really liked it. I'll give it two thumbs up. Two, because I and I stuck to the credits because like any true movie person, you really want to be able to say, okay, was this as CG as it could be? Because I've seen some really bad CG movies. Yeah. And
Aladdin.
I don't know about Aladdin, but I mean, but there's other shows or movies, even remakes of things that get done in CG that are not all that great. Yeah. I could reference like Garfield has been done in CG. The Flintstones wasn't, but I guess he had a mixture of puppets and CG, but with live action people. But I mean, there have been some TV shows that have been turned into movies where people thought we'd like to remake something, and they never came out. And I think Lion King, to me, was really good. That's why I would give it 2 thumbs up. But like I said, I'm looking at the credits and I'm like, I didn't see anything that would say CG special effects to this movie, or this guy did this thing and that thing, and maybe when the DVD comes out, maybe we'll find out the tricks and the trades of this. Because I am planning, after seeing this, I'm definitely gonna get it on DVD. My nephew and I have made agreements to go and give each other Lion King for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
We have a tradition when new movies come out, whether it's the Toy Story films or any Pixar, just remakes of Disney classics, that we get each other the same thing for Christmas. So
yeah, that's fun. That's a fun tradition.
Nick's got a hairball with this review.
Yeah, all the lion hair and sorry, the dust from the Pride Lands. Yeah, no, well, I liked it also, and I think I liked it for different reasons than other people that have reviewed it liked it for. I actually, and this is something that kind of stumps me, but some of the complaints about the live action remakes that Disney's been making are that the ones in the past haven't stayed true to the original, and the fans and people who wanted to see this movie like Aladdin or Dumbo or any of the ones that have come out recently, Beauty and the Beast, they got mad when it wasn't a scene-for-scene remake. But then with this movie, a lot of people were mad that it was a scene-for-scene remake. And they're like, it had no creativity, it had nothing added to it. It's like, what was the point? Blah, blah, blah. But if they're going to do a remake, I like the way they did this. And the time and the effort that went into... Now, I'm not saying it's perfect, because it has a lot of flaws. And, you know, it's debatable whether or not it even needed to be made, because it was clear that Disney's just trying to cash in on our nostalgia. But the way that Jon Favreau, the director, directed and created this movie, it's very visually stunning, and I liked it. I enjoyed it, not as much as the original animated, but
I mean, I you know, it was, you know, I've got, as we're talking, we've got some of these toys from the original. But I mean, you can almost see how, I mean, when you take and do these little figures and things like they did for the original movie, they look so realistic.
Yeah.
But I can see what they did, and I don't know why Disney lately, I think, puts out really good CG, or whoever is part of it. I mean, they're better than Pixar and a little bit, because, you know, they're not fad. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, wow, these look like real lions. I think my two favorite characters of this whole movie were Timon and Pumbaa, and I thought they did a really good job at making Pumbaa look like a real warthog,
which people didn't like because he was ugly. But,
yes, but that's what warthogs look like, and I'm like,
but he was good in the movie. Seth Rogen did a good job as his voice, and it was enjoyable. I think everybody would agree that Timon and Pumbaa were the best part of this movie.
Right. But I just thought it was just, you know, great. It was interesting that the line that I was waiting for in Hakuna Matata was the part where Timon says, Pumbaa, not in front of the kids.
Yeah.
But nowadays we're making things PG and PG-13, so...
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously Timon is going to say something that he would not have said, or was probably cut out, and that's why Timon...
Yeah, let's just say that the 90s were a lot more innocent, and I guess you could say kid-friendly.
Well, minus a few things until Disney puts the foot in there and says, go remake the movie and start from scratch.
There was a lot more sensitivity to certain offensive things back in the originals.
I can name at least one movie that I won't say, but there was a movie that, you know, had to go back because of some censorship, and I won't, you know, go into details with that one, but I'm sure you all probably change. Figure.
Yeah, things change over time,
but Disney knows how to go and put. Back then, they knew how to. If somebody did something that wasn't pleasing to Disney, they could go and say redo it, and or you know, we're having you exit our studio.
Well, and I think one thing we love Disney, and we like Nickelodeon, and we like Paramount, like we like nostalgia, we like all these, we like the movie companies and the, you know, certain movies that they create. But I think the one thing that we have to come to terms with Disney is that they're not perfect. And if you know anything about Disney's history, you know that they've had some really bad times. Like they've always been, you know, like top line successful for the most part overall, you know, since Walt started the company. Well, there was a lot of ups and downs though along the way, and after Walt died, I think they had a lot more problems because it didn't have his vision, and people weren't interested in carrying on his vision. You know, that's still kind of core to their mission, but nowadays, especially with people like Bob Iger, who's in control, it's more about, like any other company, what's good for the shareholders, what's good to make money, and they've kind of lost their way in some ways for that just like imagination and fun and well, like we don't even know. We'll have to, look up the Disney lineup of movies coming out. Like, the only thing that we know at this point that's going to be an original, but still a sequel, is Frozen 2.
Right.
And all the other lineups that they have like for the most part,
Yeah.
are going to be remakes. You
know,
got Mulan and Little
yeah.
Mermaid, and I think they're talking about Hercules and
Yeah, I heard somebody somebody that I knew say this a long time ago, is that you're always going to find somebody who's going to want to make a remake. I mean, you take Tom Sawyer, which has been a classic for a long time, and it's very easy if I mean, the book was published 200 years ago, but you're always going to get somebody new who has never read the book or never seen, whether it's Disney or somebody else that makes it. There's always going to be somebody out there, and I liked their idea was, pull out Tom Sawyer, introduce it to the kids, and then maybe if they make a remake, they can enjoy it, because there won't be the same things. I've taken my nephew to plays and shows and stuff, and I said, okay, I want to let you know, when we go to see this remake, it will not be the same as the original, and be
right.
But I like to prepare them for things like that. So, but then they also get a chance to see it, and if they want to go back and see the classic, they get two story versions of it. I mean, but you're bringing back a classic. I mean, Walt was kind of the envisioner. I mean, Snow White and Cinderella and some of those classics were already books,
right?
And then he took them to
So I mean, that's the thing. Most of the stuff that Disney created. Right. Was a remake of an original fairy tale or an original book. Book. I mean,
I'm just saying, today we're kind of
the difference though is Disney's remaking their own movies that they already made. So it's not the same as taking somebody else's creation. Like and a lot of the fairy tales in the book form were not as kid friendly,
right?
But they were a little darker back in those days. But Disney, he took Snow White and Cinderella and Little Mermaid and all these stories that have been around for hundreds of years,
right,
if not more, and made his take. He created his take on them and made them successful in the way that only he knew how.
Right. So I guess in a way, what we should say is, if Disney's going to make remakes, they need to take it off of classic books and tell their own story. Because Disney did Into the Woods, and that was pretty good. And Into the Woods tells a story of characters that Walt even didn't create. I mean, you had Little Red Riding Hood, and you had the Big Bad. I mean, you had all these characters are going into the woods and out.
Right.
But I'm just saying, everybody gets to tell their story in a way that's maybe never been told before, and that's. I guess if you want to take originals, take those originals. But I guess I can see where if you take something that's a news story, like Lion King is, fairly new. I don't know if it's based off of a book or not, but
the Lion King is based off of Shakespeare.
Okay, Shakespeare.
So Hamlet.
Right.
So the original Lion King story was based off Hamlet, which Lion King, the animated, was a classic in itself, but it told that story of Hamlet. So it was kind of a classic storyline.
Right.
But this movie, and like we both said, we liked it, we enjoyed it. We'll purchase it when it comes out. That's kind of our seal of approval.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you gotta ask yourself, as we continue to go down this road with Disney, are they gonna suffer because they keep just remaking movies that people aren't asking for? Like, and I don't know. It could go both ways. I know that their stocks were down today or this week. Their stocks fell, and so they lost money because, I guess their third quarters, maybe it's their third quarter earnings or whatever quarter they're in, they lost money in a lot of areas. So they their stock went down, and that can be attributed to a lot of things. But I think I don't know, because these remakes are making money. Yeah. Like they're making $1 billion at the box office.
Well, it is amazing to see it, but then, like I said, if these remakes like Lion King and of course the sequel to Toy Story 4, which we talked about, both of them are hit the summertime, so that means the kids are out of school, and I know for me, I've already shown my nephew and my nieces too, but my nephew's coming up on 10, I've at least shown him all of the Disney stuff to prepare him for that. But like I said, if a kid in your family, nephew or niece, has not seen Lion King, and this is the first time, maybe it's a good way to, show them this one, and then maybe the kid says, I like the new one, and where we like the old pencil drawing that is a formula of what Walt would have done back in the 60s, from the 1920s to the 1960s, and then of course they kind of got reestablished after his death from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. But I mean, there was some,
right?
There were some Disney movies that were brand new that didn't survive through the 70s. There's Rescuers and Rescuers Down Under, not really my favorite of the Disney movies, but
yeah, Disney definitely has its classics, and then they have just their their collection of movies.
I feel like they picked up if you were to talk about movies in this whole thing, is to say, starting with Fox and the Hound going forward for a little while, they had some really good movies, but there was a time period right after Walt's death, I think 5 years after, I think about 75 or so. I mean, he died in 66, so we're talking about a little under 9 years, maybe 10 years of his death. The two Rescuer movies, I don't know what they were thinking. They just I never liked them, and they didn't feel like Disney, even though they had the Disney label on them. I think that there were a few characters that showed up in a Mickey's Christmas Carol story that came out in 1983 when all of the Disney characters came back, so it was fun to see them in with Mickey Mouse and Minnie, and they fit better there, but in their own solo movies they didn't.
Well, like that time period where they had that kind of similar animation.
Right.
They had like the Rescuers Down Under, the Aristocats.
Right.
They had
Aristocats was before the Rescuers.
Right. I'm just saying that was all kind of the same style of animation. Like they had this period where it was all the same. You had Lady and the Tramp. You had 101 Dalmatians. Right. You had Aristocats.
Right.
Rescuers Down Under. Rescuers. Like it was all similar storylines, like using animals, like animated, and then they kind of progressed, and then they got to The Little Mermaid in 1989, and then they went from Little Mermaid to Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. Then they had less popular ones, but still popular, Hercules,
of course,
Mulan.
Toy Story kind of came in the mix between.
Yeah, well, that was Pixar.
I mean, it was Pixar, but once they got the rights to it,
but it's not animation; it's computer.
I think it was the only animation because they did some CGI that was supposed to look like Pixar. There was a Chicken Little, and that one didn't, But the thing that's interesting about, you mentioned Aristocrat in the lineup, and that was the last Disney film done by Walt Disney in 1970. Even though his death was 66, that was the last animated film that he worked on, and had been originally part of a live-action animal TV show they did called Nature's Wonderland during the 1950s. And he actually did film. He went out with his movie camera and his crew and actually filmed live animals, and they told the story.
Yeah.
So I think I did see, when we go back to Lion King, I did see something that said thanks to the Wild Animal Kingdom, which I think is part of the parks in Disney World. So I think there was tribute to that. I don't know if they've got live animals in that part of the park, because I didn't go to Disney World when they opened it. I was there like a year before they opened the park, but my understanding is that there were like live actual animals at the park. That's why I need to go back when this comes back on the DVD. I have to re-look and see the credits, because like I said, I didn't see CG.
No, they might call it something different.
Yeah, but I did bring, as we're talking about Lion King, I did bring originals. Brought my platinum and my diamond edition. I did hear that when the new Lion King gets released, probably later this fall at Christmas time, they're probably going to bring out in their signature collection, they're going to bring the Lion King out, which also
the Lion King's available right now.
Yeah, well,
on Blu-ray, the original one. Yeah, it's available in Blu-ray and 4K.
I'm saying, well, now they've got it as part of the signature classic, and I just realized that when it's not in the vault. You can buy it. Well, they've taken it out of the vault, and now it's
been out of the vault for at least a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I need to get the signature class.
I don't know if it ever went in the vault. It's one of those, I think. No, Aladdin's been in the vault. They just brought that out. It comes out next week, I think.
Okay, so all I know is that they're putting these, because what I've got here is Platinum Edition and...
Hold on. I'll be right back, because I have it. I have the one that's out right now.
Okay.
Not on Blu-ray, but I have the. I mean, not on 4K.
We will see what you have. And
But I have the Blu-ray. We can show it.
yeah.
We'll see what edition it is. Probably signature because I got it from the movie club.
Let's see what you got here.
Okay, so here's my copy.
Let's see what you got.
The Circle of Life edition.
But yep, you've got the. This is the.
This Walt Disney
this is
Signature
the newest,
Collection.
Yeah, that's part of the signature collection.
That one just came out recently, and then
Yeah.
they also just released it in 4K. But to be honest, I don't know how much better 4K is for an animated.
Well,
you know?
all I know is that is on my that's on my list of
Yeah, you should
things
get it.
I'm gonna get a.
You gotta get it.
I guess I didn't realize it had already come out.
Well, actually, this has Own a Piece of the Lion King limited edition film frames.
Yeah.
So let's pull this open. See what we got here. Yeah, so it's Rafiki holding Simba on the rock. You can't see that from here, but it's a film frame. So.
Well, I just it's interesting that this new Lion King came out when the Lion King is now 25 years old.
I'm sure that was their plan.
Well, and like I said, I'm planning on getting this because I have Beauty and the Beast in the signature collection, and I need to add Aladdin. So I'm glad that I have these two, and I can just add the next Lion King because each, as you can see, you go from the Platinum Edition, just kind of showing nicks, which kind of go in this. It's kind of cool to have. Go from the DVD stage to a Blu-ray and 3D set to this new signature collection. So I really like when they do a collection like this because you get the idea. I mean, I wish I had VHS, but to have this set is pretty good. And like I said, I've got Beauty and the Beast as a huge set, and
well,
I
I think that's all we can say about the Lion King for now.
Pretty much covered everything that we've wanted to review on this remake. And,
go ahead.
Oh, and when we're trying not to spoil it, but Simba does die.
Yeah.
No.
No, Simba doesn't die.
Oh yeah, that's right. The king has returned.
Mufasa dies though.
Mufasa.
Sorry, but we recommend it. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. And if you have seen it, let us know what you thought in the comments below. And as always, please check us out on our social media channels, links in the description, and help us out by liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more upcoming nostalgia, Disney, Nickelodeon, video, retro, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So I'm Lawrence.
I'm Nick.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.